First story, the horns waiting beyond Black Hollow Road. I never believed the stories people told about lonely highways. I laughed whenever truck drivers talked about things standing beside the road that weren't animals and weren't people either. Every town has its legends. Every old gas station has someone willing to swear they saw something impossible after midnight. Back then, I thought exhaustion was enough to explain everything. Now I know I was wrong. My name is Ethan Walker. I grew up outside Ashford, West Virginia. I have driven thousands of miles across the Appalachian back roads. Storms never scared me. Empty highways never bothered me. Even abandoned churches and forgotten cemeteries never made me nervous. But there is one road I will never drive again. It happened during late October. The trees had already lost most of their leaves, and the mountains looked like giant black shadows under the moonlight. My best friend, Mason Brooks, and I were driving home after helping his uncle repair a cabin near Black Hollow Ridge. It was almost 2 in the morning. The highway was completely empty. No headlights, no taillights, no houses, only endless forest. The radio suddenly filled with static. Mason reached toward it. The static became louder. Then, it sounded like someone breathing, slow, heavy, right into the microphone. What the hell? Before he finished speaking, the radio shut itself off. The dashboard lights flickered. The temperature inside the truck dropped so fast that our breath became visible. Neither of us spoke. Something felt wrong. Not dangerous. Wrong. Like we had crossed into a place where we were never supposed to be. A few miles later, the headlights caught someone standing beside the road. He wasn't waving. He wasn't moving. Just standing perfectly still. At first, I thought he was wearing a strange costume. Then the truck got closer. His head wasn't covered by a mask. It was his head. Long, curved horns stretched toward the sky. His face looked almost human except for the muzzle. His eyes reflected yellow like an animal's. His legs bent backward. His hands ended in black hooves. Mason whispered, "Keep driving." I didn't answer. I couldn't. The thing slowly turned its head toward us. It smiled, not with human teeth, with flat animal teeth, and somehow, that terrified me even more. I slammed the accelerator. The truck roared forward. Neither of us looked back. For nearly 10 minutes, nobody spoke. Finally, Mason laughed nervously. Probably somebody wearing makeup. I wanted to believe him. Then I looked in the rearview mirror. It was running. Not behind us, beside us, keeping pace with the truck. Its hooves never touched the pavement. It glided beside the passenger door without making a sound. Its yellow eyes stared directly at Mason. He slowly turned. The creature was only inches away from the window. It smiled wider. Then it tapped the glass. Once, twice, 3 times. The entire truck shook. I hit 80 miles an hour, then 90. Still, it stayed beside us. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Suddenly, the creature vanished, just disappeared. I almost cried with relief. Then Mason screamed. It was sitting in the truck bed, watching us through the rear window. Neither of us understood how it got there. Its horns scraped against the roof. Its mouth never stopped smiling. Then it raised one hoof and slowly pointed ahead. I looked forward. The road ended. A bridge had collapsed months earlier. Concrete barriers blocked the highway. We were seconds away. I slammed the brakes. The truck spun across the asphalt. Metal screamed. Glass exploded. We finally stopped only a few feet from the broken bridge. Silence. Absolute silence. The creature was gone. Mason climbed out shaking. I want to leave. So did I. But the engine wouldn't start. The battery was completely dead. We decided to walk toward an old ranger station we had passed several miles earlier. The moon disappeared behind thick clouds. Darkness swallowed everything. Our flashlights barely reached the trees. Every few minutes we heard footsteps behind us. Heavy, slow, always matching our pace. Whenever we stopped, the footsteps stopped. Whenever we walked, they followed again. After almost half an hour, we saw lights ahead. An old gas station. It looked abandoned except for one elderly man sitting outside. We ran toward him. Before we even spoke, he asked, "You saw him, didn't you?" Neither of us answered. He slowly nodded. The goat man chooses travelers who ignore the warning. What warning? He pointed toward an old wooden sign lying beside the building. It had fallen years ago, covered by dirt. We cleaned enough mud away to read the faded letters. Black Hollow Road closed after dark. The old man looked at us with tired eyes. If he smiles at you, he already knows your name. Cold spread through my body. Neither Mason nor I had told him anything. Not about the smile, not about the road, not about the creature. The old man quietly added, he never chases forever. He waits for your next trip. Morning finally came. The truck started immediately, almost as if nothing had happened. We never spoke about that night again. Months passed. Life slowly returned to normal. Then one evening, Mason stopped answering his phone. His family reported him missing. Police searched for weeks. Nothing. No vehicle. No body. No clues. Only one strange discovery. His pickup truck was found parked beside Black Hollow Road. The driver's door stood open. The engine was still warm. There were dozens of deep hoof prints around the truck. They circled it over and over, but none of them led away. Almost a year later, I received a package with no return address. Inside was Mason's wallet, his driver's license, his wedding ring, and a folded piece of paper. Only one sentence was written in dark brown ink. He finally looked back. I burned everything. I moved to another state, changed my phone number, changed my job. I never drove after sunset again. Last week I was traveling home before dark. The interstate was crowded. Hundreds of cars surrounded me. For the first time in years, I thought maybe I had escaped. Then the traffic stopped. Completely. Every vehicle shut off at exactly the same moment. No engines, no radios, no voices, only silence. Something made me glance into the side mirror. Standing between hundreds of motionless cars was the same towering figure, the same twisted horns, the same impossible smile. Only this time, he wasn't looking at me. He was looking directly into the mirror, as if he had been waiting all these years for me to notice him again. His mouth slowly opened. Without moving his lips, I heard his voice inside my head. You drove farther than most, but every road becomes mine after midnight. The traffic suddenly started moving again. Everyone drove away as though nothing had happened. No one screamed. No one reacted. No one had seen him. When I reached home, I checked the side of my truck. There were 3 fresh marks scratched into the driver's door. They weren't made by claws. They looked exactly like hoof prints burned into the metal. Every morning since then, there has been one more. And tonight, there are enough of them to reach the driver's window. I know what happens when the marks reach the glass, because taped beneath my windshield wiper this evening was another piece of paper. Only 4 words. Don't look beside you. I'm writing this while sitting inside my truck on an empty highway. It is almost midnight. The radio has just begun filling with slow, heavy breathing. Something tapped my driver's window. Once, twice, 3 times. I still haven't looked, because deep inside, I already know whose reflection is waiting for me in the glass. Second story. The graveyard that waited beyond Hollow Creek. I never believed the stories people told about driving past old cemeteries after midnight. Every town has legends. Every lonely road has someone who claims they saw something impossible. I always laughed at those stories. I don't laugh anymore. My name is Ethan Brooks, and this happened outside the small town of Ashford, West Virginia. It was late in October. The trees had already lost most of their leaves, and a cold rain had covered the roads with a thin layer of mist. My best friend, Tyler, and I were driving home after helping another friend move into a cabin nearly 2 hours away. The highway was closed because of an accident, so our GPS sent us through an old county road. Looks creepy, Tyler muttered as he looked through the windshield. He wasn't wrong. There were no houses, no lights, no gas stations. Only endless woods pressing against both sides of the road. The fog grew thicker with every mile. Our headlights barely reached beyond the hood of the truck. Then the GPS spoke. Continue straight for 3 miles. That was when we saw the iron fence. At first I thought it surrounded an abandoned farm. Then I noticed hundreds, no, Thousands of weathered gravestones stretching into the darkness. Holy, Tyler whispered. A cemetery? It looked ancient. The gate stood open. Rust covered every piece of iron. The entrance sign had almost completely rotted away. Only one word remained readable: hollow. The rest had disappeared beneath moss. I slowed the truck. Neither of us spoke. Something felt wrong. Not scary at first, just wrong, like the entire place was waiting for someone. As we passed the entrance, every radio station dissolved into loud static. I switched channels. Nothing. Only hissing. Tyler looked at his phone. No signal. Mine showed the same thing. Then, the temperature inside the truck dropped so suddenly that I could see my own breath. I turned up the heater. Nothing happened. It blew freezing air. Tyler stared into the cemetery. Ethan. What? I think somebody's standing between those graves. I looked. There was someone, far away, perfectly still, too still. They wore what looked like a long black coat, no umbrella, no movement. Rain fell through them. I blinked. The figure was gone. Forget it, I said. Probably a monument. Tyler kept staring. It wasn't. We continued driving. After several minutes, I checked the clock. 12:15. A few moments later, 12:15. Again, the second hand never moved. My phone showed the exact same time. So does mine, Tyler whispered before I could even ask. The truck suddenly hit something. Hard. Thud! I slammed the brakes. What was that? Neither of us answered. The road behind us was empty. No animal, no branch, nothing. Only wet pavement disappearing into thick fog. Then, 3 slow knocks landed on the truck bed. Knock, knock, knock. Neither of us moved. The knocks came again. Closer. This time from the driver's side door. Knock, knock, knock. Tyler slowly turned toward the window. There was nobody there, yet the glass fogged from the outside, as if someone were breathing against it. Words slowly appeared. Turn back. The letters faded almost immediately. What the hell? Tyler whispered. I stepped on the gas. The truck accelerated. The cemetery fence still stretched beside us. It shouldn't have. We had been driving for nearly 10 minutes. There was no way it was this large. I glanced into the rearview mirror. The entrance gate stood directly behind us, exactly where it had been before. Impossible. We kept driving. Again and again. Every mile looked identical. Every broken angel statue, every leaning cross, every dead oak tree. We weren't leaving. The road had trapped us. Tyler suddenly grabbed my arm. Don't stop. I wasn't planning to. No, his voice shook. I mean, don't stop looking forward. I made the mistake anyway. I looked at him, only for a second. When I faced the road again, someone stood in front of the truck. I slammed the brakes. The tires screamed. The truck stopped inches away. The figure wore old funeral clothes covered in mud. Its face, there wasn't one. Only smooth gray skin, where eyes should have been. Fresh dirt slowly poured down. Its head tilted. Then every grave in the cemetery exploded open. Not with dirt, with darkness. Figures climbed out. Hundreds, then thousands. Silent, watching us. They never hurried. They simply walked toward the road together. Tyler screamed. Go! I hit the accelerator. The truck shot forward. The faceless figure never moved. Instead, we drove through it. The windshield instantly froze solid. The engine died. Everything became silent. Even the rain stopped. Something scratched across the roof, slowly, from the front to the back. Then another set of scratches, and another. Soon dozens of unseen hands crawled across the truck. The metal bent inward. Windows cracked. Tyler covered his ears. They're talking. I don't hear anything. I do. His voice broke. They keep saying someone has to stay. The driver's window shattered. Cold air exploded inside. Hands, gray hands covered with cemetery soil, reached through the broken glass. I grabbed Tyler and pulled him away. The truck suddenly started by itself. The headlights came back on. Everything outside disappeared. No cemetery, no figures, no fog, only an empty highway. I never stopped driving until sunrise. We reached Ashford just after dawn. Neither of us spoke about that night for weeks. Eventually, we convinced ourselves exhaustion had caused hallucinations. Until Tyler disappeared. Police found his truck parked beside Hollow Cemetery. The engine was still running, his wallet, his keys, his phone, everything remained inside. except Tyler. They searched for days. Nothing. Months later, I received a package with no return address. Inside was Tyler's phone. The battery somehow still worked. There was only one video. It lasted less than 1 minute. Tyler was recording from inside complete darkness. He whispered my name. Ethan, don't ever drive back. Behind him stood endless rows of gravestones disappearing into black fog. Then the camera slowly turned toward the road. A pickup truck was approaching. My pickup truck. I was behind the wheel, alone. The date shown on the dashboard was not from the past. It was 1 year in the future. The video ended before my truck reached the cemetery gate. I destroyed the phone that same day. Last month, I received another package. No name, no stamp. Inside was a fresh photograph. Someone had taken it from inside Hollow Cemetery. It showed my truck parked beside the entrance. The driver's door was open. Fresh footprints led through the gate. Only inward, never back out. Since then, every night at exactly 12:15, my truck radio fills with static no matter where I am. Then I hear Tyler's voice. Always the same sentence. They finally know the way home. Last night, the GPS turned on by itself. I hadn't entered a destination. It displayed only one route. Continues straight to Hollow Cemetery. The remaining distance never changes. 3 miles. Third story. The route that never reached dawn. I have driven a truck through almost every state east of the Mississippi. I have crossed frozen highways, deserts of cracked asphalt, mountain roads buried under thick fog, and lonely stretches where you could drive for hours without seeing another pair of headlights. None of those roads frightened me. There is only one route I will never drive again. My name is Daniel Brooks. I hauled refrigerated freight out of Louisville, Kentucky for almost 12 years. Most of my deliveries happened overnight because traffic was lighter and the pay was better. Night driving became normal. Darkness stopped feeling empty. It became familiar. That changed during one delivery heading toward a small town outside Beckley, West Virginia. Dispatch called me late on a rainy Tuesday evening. The load had to arrive before sunrise. It was nothing unusual. Fresh produce, ordinary paperwork, ordinary destination. At least that was what everyone believed. Rain hammered against the windshield from the moment I left the warehouse. Thunder rolled somewhere behind the hills, but the lightning stayed hidden inside heavy clouds. My headlights barely pushed through the darkness. Almost 4 hours into the trip, the GPS suddenly froze. The screen turned black. Then one sentence appeared: "Do not stop until sunrise." I frowned. I restarted the unit. The normal map returned. I laughed at myself, blaming another software glitch. 5 minutes later, the radio lost signal. Every station disappeared. Only static filled the cab. Then, a man's voice whispered through the noise. "He's already behind you." I jerked my eyes toward the mirrors. Nothing. Only my trailer. Only darkness. I turned the radio off. The whisper continued anyway. "Don't let him climb inside." Cold spread through my arms. I rolled my shoulders, trying to stay calm. Long hours behind the wheel can play tricks on your mind. That's what I kept telling myself. About 20 miles later, I noticed someone standing beside the highway. No car, no flashlight, no reflective vest. Just a tall figure wearing what looked like an old black raincoat. His face stayed hidden beneath a wide hat. He never waved. He simply stood there, watching. As I drove past, he slowly lifted one arm, pointing toward my trailer, not toward me. Toward the trailer. My mirrors suddenly filled with movement. Something large climbed onto the back doors. I couldn't see its shape, only long fingers gripping the metal. The truck shook. The suspension groaned as though another vehicle had landed behind me. The cargo was sealed. No one could have climbed onto it. The banging started. One hit, another, then dozens. The trailer sounded as if people were throwing themselves against the walls from inside. The temperature monitor dropped. 35 degrees, 20, 10, 0. Then below 0, impossible. Fresh vegetables don't require freezing temperatures. My breath turned white. Ice spread across the inside of the windshield. I grabbed the company phone. No signal. My personal phone, No signal. The dashboard clock began spinning backward. Minutes disappeared instead of passing. Outside, the rain suddenly stopped. Complete silence. No tires splashing. No wind. Nothing. Then, every tree beside the highway turned toward the truck. Not the branches. The trunks. They twisted, slowly, as though they were watching me drive past. I slammed my foot harder onto the accelerator. The diesel engine screamed. 80 miles an hour. 85, 90. Something landed on the roof of the cab. Metal bent above my head. Heavy footsteps circled me. Slow, deliberate. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Something dragged enormous claws across the steel. I refused to look upward. There was nowhere to look anyway. Only darkness. The whisper returned. Lose the trailer. I almost listened, but company policy flashed through my mind. Never abandon freight. Even then, even with everything happening, I cared more about my job than my own fear. Big mistake. The knocking stopped. Silence returned. Then, a child laughed. Inside the trailer, hundreds of children, laughing together. I looked into the right mirror. The rear doors were open, wide open, but the trailer was still sealed according to the indicator lights. That couldn't happen. Something stepped out. It wasn't human. It was too tall. Its head scraped the roof. Its arms nearly touched the pavement. Its skin looked stretched over sharp bones. No face, only a mouth running from the top of its head to the bottom of its chest. It smiled. Then it began running, not after the truck, beside it, matching my speed, 90 miles an hour. Its feet never seemed to touch the road. It floated, smiling wider every second. Then it looked directly into my window and knocked. 3 slow taps, tap, tap, tap. I screamed. The horn blared continuously. I don't remember pressing it. The creature leaned closer. Inside its mouth, I saw people, hundreds of faces frozen, still alive. Their eyes begged for help. Then every face turned toward me. Together they whispered, "Stop." I did the only thing I could think of. I floored the accelerator. The engine entered the red zone. Smoke poured from beneath the hood. The truck felt ready to explode. Ahead, I finally saw lights. A lonely truck stop. The parking lot looked full. Drivers everywhere. I crossed into the entrance. The creature disappeared instantly. The roof stopped groaning. The trailer became silent. Everything returned to normal. I jumped out before the truck fully stopped. Several drivers stared at me. One older man walked over. "Where? You look like you've seen the Hollow Hauler." I asked him how he knew. His face turned pale. He pointed toward my trailer. "Because you're missing your doors." I turned around. The rear doors were gone. Completely gone. Not broken, not hanging. Gone. The trailer was empty. No pallets, no boxes, no cargo. Only deep claw marks covering every wall. The company fired me after the investigation. No accident report explained the missing freight. Insurance refused to believe my statement. The police searched the highway for weeks. They never found the trailer doors, or the shipment, or any evidence. I tried moving on. I found another trucking company months later. Different routes, different states, different truck. Everything seemed normal again. Until last winter. I delivered frozen food to Indianapolis. When I opened the trailer, every pallet had vanished. The floor was covered with muddy footprints leading toward the front wall. There was no exit, only footprints, waiting in the darkness. Then the refrigeration unit turned itself off. A familiar whisper drifted through the empty trailer. "You stopped before sunrise." I ran. I left the truck. I left the keys. I never went back. Every few weeks, my phone rings exactly at 3 in the morning. There is never a number. When I answer, I hear diesel engines, rain, children laughing. Then a calm voice asks only one question. "Are you ready to finish the route?" I never answer, because every time I stay silent, I hear heavy footsteps walking around my house. And every morning, fresh tire tracks circle the building. They are always made by a fully loaded semi-truck. The strange part is this: the tracks never lead away. Fourth story, the mile where headlights die. I have driven at night for most of my adult life. Some people believe the darkness is peaceful. They think empty highways are easier than crowded streets. They are wrong. Night roads hide things that daylight keeps buried. My name is Ethan Walker. I lived in the small town of Ashford, Missouri, and every Friday I drove almost 3 hours to visit my older sister in Rockfield. The route was simple: one highway, a few forgotten towns, endless woods on both sides. I had made that trip so many times that I could almost drive it with my eyes closed. I wish I never learned what was waiting beyond the last gas station. It started during the first week of October. The weather was unusually warm, and a thick fog drifted over the pavement long before midnight. The radio kept losing signal every few miles. At first I blamed the hills. Then the voices started. Not songs, not static, whispers. So quiet that I almost convinced myself they were inside my own head. I turned the volume down. The whispers became louder. Don't stop. Keep driving. It sees parked cars. A burst of static exploded through the speakers, making me jerk the steering wheel. Everything went silent. I laughed at myself. Fear has a strange way of making ordinary things feel impossible to explain. About 20 minutes later, I noticed another car behind me. Its headlights stayed exactly the same distance away. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. No matter how fast or slow I drove, the lights never changed their position. That should have been impossible. Eventually, curiosity won. I pulled onto the shoulder. The headlights disappeared. There had never been another car. The road behind me stretched into complete darkness. Nothing. No engine. No lights. No sound except the wind moving through the trees. I climbed back inside and locked every door. For the first time that night, my hands were shaking. Another mile passed. Then another. The fog became so thick that my high beams reflected straight back into my windshield. I could barely see beyond the hood. Suddenly, something crossed the road. It was too tall to be a deer, too thin to be a person. It moved on 4 limbs, but every movement looked painfully human. I slammed the brakes. The creature stopped in the middle of the highway. It slowly stood upright. Its arms hung almost to its knees. Its head tilted sideways until I heard something crack. Then it smiled, not with happiness, with recognition, like it already knew who I was. Its eyes reflected my headlights with no color at all, just white, completely white. I hit the gas. The tires screamed. The thing never chased me. It simply watched me leave. My heartbeat didn't slow for nearly 20 minutes. Eventually, I reached an old gas station that had somehow remained open. The elderly clerk looked at my face before I even spoke. "You saw it." Those were his first words. I asked him what he meant. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he locked the front door, closed every blind, turned off half the lights. Then he finally spoke. "People who stop after seeing it don't come back." I told him I hadn't stopped. He nodded. "Good." Then his expression changed. "But it saw your face." I laughed nervously. He didn't. "You'll understand next time." I left without buying anything. His words stayed with me the entire weekend. I tried convincing myself he had been playing some local joke. By Monday morning, I almost believed it, until I washed my car. There were handprints all across the trunk, not fingerprints, entire hands, each one far larger than any human hand. As though something had been holding onto the back of my car while I drove over 70 miles an hour. I never told anyone. The following Friday, I decided to take a different highway. It added almost an hour to the trip. Worth it. Or so I thought. Halfway there, my GPS froze. The screen went black. When it returned, the map had changed. Every road disappeared except one, the road I had been avoiding. Without touching the steering wheel, my car drifted toward the next exit. The engine accelerated. The brakes became useless. I stood on the pedal with all my weight. Nothing happened. The highway pulled me back toward the same road, the same fog, the same endless trees. It was waiting, standing exactly where I had seen it the week before. Except this time, it wasn't alone. Dozens of pale figures stood behind it. Men, women, children. Every one of them stared directly at my windshield. None of them moved. None of them blinked. Their mouths slowly opened together. The radio turned on by itself. One sentence echoed through the speakers. "You remembered the way home." The creature stepped aside. The people remained perfectly still. I drove between them. No matter how hard I tried, I could not stop. As I passed, every head turned to follow me, not one after another, all at the exact same second. I felt something climb onto the roof. Metal groaned above me. Long fingers scraped across the steel. Then came the knocking. 3 slow knocks, exactly above my head. Knock, knock, knock. The windshield suddenly cracked from the inside. Not outside, inside. Thin fractures spread across the glass like spider webs. A reflection appeared, not in the passenger seat, not behind me, inside the cracked windshield. The creature was smiling only inches from my face, but when I looked away from the reflection, the seat beside me was empty. I screamed. The reflection smiled wider, then it whispered, "Almost home." The engine died. The headlights went out. Everything became black. Not night, something darker. Silence swallowed the road, even my breathing disappeared. Then thousands of white eyes opened around the car. Every direction, every distance, watching, waiting. A hand touched my shoulder from the back seat, ice cold, gentle, like someone comforting an old friend. A voice breathed into my ear. "You finally stopped." When daylight came, a highway patrol officer found my car parked neatly on the shoulder. The engine was still warm. The doors were locked from the inside. My wallet, my phone, my keys. Everything remained exactly where it should have been, except me. No footprints surrounded the vehicle, no signs of a struggle, no blood, no broken glass outside, nothing. The investigation lasted for months before they declared me missing. My sister still leaves flowers near that stretch of highway every October. Truck drivers avoid that road after midnight. Local deputies refuse to patrol it alone. People who drive through that fog sometimes report seeing a lonely sedan parked on the shoulder with its headlights off. A man sits behind the steering wheel. His hands rest on it without moving. His face cannot be seen. If another driver slows down to help, the man slowly turns toward them. His eyes are completely white, and when their headlights shine through his windshield, they discover there is nobody sitting in the driver's seat, only the reflection. Fifth story, the highway that remembered my name. I never believed that a road could be alive. That was what my grandfather used to say whenever someone mentioned the abandoned stretch of highway outside Black Hollow, West Virginia. He always smiled, looked toward the window, and whispered, "Some roads don't take you somewhere. Some roads take you." I laughed every single time, until the night I found that highway. My name is Ethan Brooks. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and I spent years driving across America, delivering camera equipment for television crews. Long nights behind the wheel became normal. Silence became comforting. Empty highways became home. Nothing had ever frightened me. Then came that rainy October night. I had just finished a delivery in Charleston and started driving toward Huntington. The weather forecast promised light rain, but within an hour the sky turned black. Rain hammered against my windshield so hard the wipers could barely keep up. Lightning flashed. For a split second, I saw an old wooden sign beside the highway, Black Hollow. The GPS suddenly shut off. My radio dissolved into loud static. Then, a voice, "Turn left." I froze. The voice sounded like my mother's. My mother had died 3 years earlier. I immediately turned the radio off. Silence. Only the rain. I told myself I was exhausted. Nothing more. A few miles later, every road sign disappeared. No exits, no mile markers, nothing. Just endless wet asphalt disappearing into darkness. Then I noticed another car ahead. Its taillights glowed deep red through the rain. Finally, another driver. I followed it for almost 20 minutes. The strange thing was that the distance between us never changed. Not once. Neither closer, nor farther away. Exactly the same. No matter how fast I drove, lightning flashed again. The car ahead vanished, not turned, not accelerated. It simply wasn't there anymore. My headlights illuminated an empty road. Every hair on my arm stood up. I slammed the brakes. The road stretched ahead without another vehicle in sight. Then something knocked against my trunk. Once, twice, 3 times. I looked in the mirror. Nothing. Another loud bang shook the entire car. This time something scratched across the roof. Slowly, very slowly. like long fingernails dragging across metal. I refused to look upward. Instead, I pressed harder on the gas. The scratching became faster, louder, closer. Then, it stopped. For several seconds, everything became silent, too silent. Even the rain disappeared. The world itself seemed to stop breathing. That's when someone knocked on my driver's window. 3 gentle taps. I screamed. Standing beside my moving car was a man. He wasn't running. He wasn't being dragged. He was calmly walking beside me, keeping perfect pace. His clothes looked soaked, but water never touched the ground beneath him. His face remained hidden beneath an old black hat. Then he slowly lifted his head. There was no face, only complete darkness beneath the hat. Not skin, not bone, just endless black. I looked forward for only a second. When I looked back, he was gone. My steering wheel suddenly jerked itself to the right. The car left the pavement. I barely managed to regain control before crashing into the trees. My engine stalled. Everything went dark. The headlights died. The dashboard went black. Even my phone lost power. Outside, footsteps, slow, heavy, circling the car. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Leaves breaking beneath unseen feet. Then came whispers, hundreds of them. Men, women, children, all speaking at once. Every voice repeated my name, Ethan, Ethan. I covered my ears. It didn't matter. The voices came from inside my head. Suddenly, my headlights turned back on by themselves. Something stood directly in front of my car. It was impossibly tall. Its body looked almost human. Its arms reached the ground. Its neck bent at an unnatural angle. Its eyes reflected no light. Instead, they absorbed it. The darkness around them became deeper. It slowly raised one arm. Its finger pointed toward the passenger seat. I turned. Someone was sitting beside me, an elderly woman, gray hair, blue dress, hands folded together. She smiled. "I've been waiting for you." She sounded exactly like my grandmother. She had died before I was born. I couldn't breathe. When I looked forward again, the creature had moved. It now stood against my driver's door, without making a single sound. Its face pressed against the glass. Its mouth slowly opened, far wider than any human mouth could. Inside, there was another face, then another, then another. Hundreds of terrified human faces twisting together beneath its skin, every one of them silently screaming. The old woman beside me whispered, "Don't let it know you're afraid." Too late. The thing smiled. Every face inside its mouth smiled too. The engine suddenly started, without touching the key. The car accelerated by itself, straight through the forest. Trees should have stopped me. None did. The car passed through them as though they were smoke. Then I saw lights. A gas station. People. Civilization. The creature disappeared. The whispers stopped. Everything became normal again. The clerk looked terrified when I entered. He stared at me without speaking. Finally, he whispered, "Sir, where have you been?" I got lost for maybe an hour. His face turned white. He slowly rotated the calendar sitting beside the register. I nearly collapsed. According to the date, 7 years had passed. Everyone I knew believed I had disappeared forever. My apartment belonged to someone else. My company no longer existed. My friends had moved away. My father had died thinking I abandoned him. There was nothing left of my old life. Police questioned me for weeks. Doctors examined me. Nobody believed my story. Eventually, they let me go. I tried rebuilding my life somewhere new. But every October, the same thing happens. At exactly midnight, my GPS turns itself on. No matter what vehicle I'm driving, no matter where I am, it calculates only one destination: Black Hollow. I delete it. It comes back. I smash the screen. Another one lights up. Sometimes every radio nearby begins whispering my name. Sometimes I wake up with wet leaves covering my bedroom floor. Sometimes I hear scratching above my ceiling. 3 nights ago, I looked outside my apartment window, across the empty parking lot. A man stood beneath a broken streetlight, black hat, no face, perfectly still. He slowly raised one hand, then pointed toward the road. Yesterday, I traded my car for another one. This morning, the odometer already showed hundreds of miles that I never drove. Tonight, the fuel tank is full. The engine is already running. I never started it. The GPS is glowing in the darkness. It isn't asking anymore. It simply says, "Welcome back, Ethan." And outside, something has just knocked on my driver's window. 3 gentle taps.